Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. I'm wearing my taco shirt. Michelle and I went to the protests in San Francisco today. And I should grab our signs here so you can see those. Hang on. Michelle had these made up. So the one that she was holding was, did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage? Which is, Wish You Were Here lyrics from Pink Floyd. And if you look closely, you'll see the artist from Etsy had put some German soldiers on there. The other design that she had was this one for Foking Joke. Those were our signs that we were carrying. There's an advantage to having sticks on them, is that you can hold them up high without extending your arms up the whole time, which is tiring. There were certainly thousands of people at Dolores Park when we were there. It could get up to 10,000. The news reports were saying hundreds of people showing up. The comments were hilarious. Yes, hundreds of people were there. You could also say thousands of people were there. Hundreds of people is accurate. There were hundreds of people. But if there's 5,000 or 10,000 people, nobody says 50, 100 people or 100 people showed up. They would say thousands. Use the right units. And even the shots on the news story I saw, and there was a helicopter that was circling around, and they were getting shots of the crowd at Dolores Park. That was early on. You could see streams of people coming in to swell the ranks. And even the shot they had, there were easily 1,000 people or more there. And with plenty being added. Michelle and I took BART, which is the Bay Area Rapid Transit. It's our electric trains. Like a subway, but it's not really a subway. To San Francisco, and we got off at the exit. And I've never seen this before. There was a huge pile of people trying to get out through the gates. So normally, you might have lines 10, 12 people deep. This was lines 50, 60 people deep trying to exit the BART station. And I'd never seen that before. It took several minutes to process everyone who was there. It was great to be out. The weather, again, cooperating was perfect. We were part of the march, and glad we went. I was checking the weather reports. It was supposed to be 90% chance of rain, although they were saying the worst of the weather was going to happen after the D.C. March for the weather in Washington, D.C. And apparently they did start that parade early, and it was drizzling the whole time. From TikTok videos, both lives and film that people shot there, sparsely attended. Sparsely being the key word. And of course the media is saying tens of thousands of people showed up. No, they didn't. maybe there's tens of thousands there. Sure, why not? But they're spread over a huge area. It's not like the same density that we're seeing in New York or Philadelphia, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and various other places where there were protests. So, mission accomplished. I want to read on the energy of the No Kings protest, and I want to ring on the energy of Donald Trump's military parade, because I think my cards came true on that one, that he was going to leave dissatisfied. If no other reason, nobody showed up. It was pathetic, the crowd sizes there. What a waste of tens of millions of dollars to have some tanks drive up and down and around for nobody to appreciate. I was teasing Michelle. I was watching one video. They should have a cop jumping up and down going, "Yeah, USA!" So at least the army guys would feel like somebody appreciated them being there. Otherwise, it was just performative nonsense. Okay, let's look at the energies now. No Kings. What's the energy around the No Kings protests throughout the country? How does that move the needle? Who's the needle moving with? Entertainment purposes only. Judgment. The people have made themselves heard. You had a choice of venues. You could go to Washington, D.C. and watch some tanks drive around and some Apache helicopters fly over. Or you could stand up for your rights. Way more people did that. Cross with the Ace of Pentacles. Big push. I'm going to take this an opportunity. I'm not going to say it's big messaging, absolutely, but big messaging about values, not wealth, but values. People made their voices heard, and Trump is his own worst enemy with his actions in Los Angeles over the past week and a half. He personally made more people come out. The numbers swelled because of his actions and people coming out not only to protest his actions but to protect their neighbors. In the past, the government, we don't want kings. The Hierophant. We don't want kings. The Supreme Court allowed Trump to be a king. He's acting like a dictator. That is exactly what we don't want. We want our government to serve us, not to be servants to the government. How do the no kings move the needle? Two of Wands was the current situation. This basically sent a message. Wands, fire energy, action being taken. The Wands are the planning. My hats go off to the planners from No Kings for planning these marches, and I'm sure picking Trump's birthday was not a coincidence. But I think also their ability to adapt as people RSVP'd, as Trump fanned the flames and made things worse, adding more and more cities to the mix, spreading the message wider and further than it would have otherwise, because the opportunity presented themselves and more people came. They're estimating millions across the United States protested. That is a huge protest in the United States. We're very laissez-faire when it comes to stuff like that. Overarching energy is the Four of Swords. Quiet contemplation, meditation. I think what this is really saying is you've woken up some people. The sleeping giant is waking up, or going woke, as it were. Trump's policies wake people up, and now we are going to exercise and have ourselves be heard. Lesson to be learned is the strength. We will see the outcome of these protests, or maybe we won't. And when I say that, what I mean is it's not that there won't be an outcome, but maybe by these protests, things don't happen that would have happened otherwise. Do you understand where I'm going with this? It would be like, okay, well, now we're going to send ICE over to these other areas. And now maybe that doesn't happen. Because they're not going to announce that, oh, well, because of these protests, we're not going to send ICE to Seattle or to Portland or someplace like that. They will just quietly cancel those. That's where I'm going with it. I do think that the protests were a sign of strength, a show of strength by people, and that I think that message got out. Lesson to be learned, or the outcome of this, the Eight of Swords. I don't think this is the protesters feeling restricted. It could be, but you're only as restricted as you allow yourself to be. I think this more starts tying the hands of those who would do worse actions. You now have to think twice before you act and work and act on your worst impulses. For those that made it out to the protests, good job. For those who couldn't make it, I'm sorry that you weren't able to go for one reason or another. Good energy was out there for sure. For those outside the United States, I hope when you see footage of this, of the protests and the marches across, I hope this gives you hope. For those in the United States reading what the mainstream media is saying, they are wildly downplaying the protests and the numbers. If they're saying hundreds, it was thousands. I'm serious. If you were at Dolores Park in San Francisco today and somebody said, yeah, hundreds of people were there. Yeah, no. The last protest or two that Michelle and I have been to in Civic Center, yeah, had hundreds of people there, maybe 1,000. This one was 10 times more packed than those, and maybe more than that. The first No Kings protest that we went to that probably had a couple thousand people in it, that was a big protest. This was way bigger. God rained on Trump's parade, but not too hard. Not many people showed up. Again, the TikToks I saw of the crowd sizes, sparse. Absolutely sparse. How is Donald feeling after his military parade? I mean, the Army's 250th military parade that just happened to be on his birthday, and he got to sit there and be Kim Jong-un for a day. How's he feeling after that? 9 of coins. He's feeling wealthy and powerful. Crossed by the Queen of Wands. You know, this is my Ukraine card. His feelings on that are tied with the war in Ukraine. And underneath it all is the Emperor. This would be, you know, again, Trump, Putin type thing. It's that dictator type energy. The 9 of coins on the low energy is not appreciating what you have. It's having all these things and not appreciating it. Queen of Wands is energy. It's looking down the road type of stuff. Now, Trump did say how the U.S. had the most powerful military in the world, and he was boasting about it. I just think, yeah, there's just this vibe that, you know, it was his special birthday present where he was the Grand Marshal of it. Let's keep going, see what we've got going on here. In the past, we got the Magician. He's been wanting this to manifest for a while. He tried it in his first term. It didn't come out, and it got forced this term to happen. Current situation is 7 of Swords. It's going to take a lot of creative editing to make it look like it's really crowded there. I think, and then the No Kings protests were much more populated in attendance. So I think what's going to have to happen here, Susie Wild, amongst other folks, they're going to have to figure out a way to convince the Mad King that his parade was extremely popular and that the other parades were minor things. Apparently a reporter asked Trump about the other parades, about the other protests, and he claims he didn't know anything about that. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. It's an unconfirmed TikTok video, so take that for what it's worth. But if that were a true statement, that means his people are hiding things from him. If it truly is that he didn't know about the No Kings. Overarching energy is the Fool card. I think he feels foolish. There just weren't any. There was nobody there. It's like there was like a thief in the night, and nobody noticed. Maybe he is feeling foolish about this. Yeah. Lesson be learned: the Page of Swords. You know, just if not a sword master, it's, you know, just hacking away with your sword, not knowing what you're doing. This got added on at the last second, and I think it was just underwhelming. That was what I got before too, that he was going to be really underwhelmed with it, and I thought the weather would play a part, which it probably did, and force it to start early, but, you know, having some tanks and stuff like that, it didn't look like the Russian parades, and it didn't look like the North Korean military parades. I think he's going to feel like that this was kind of underwhelming. Outcome is the 5 of Wands. Yeah, I don't think he's real happy. The Hillbilly Brawl card. Squabbling, a fracas. With something like this, the Seven of Swords, the Fool card, the Page of Swords, and the Five of Wands, this might be one of those times where you don't want to be around him and you want to keep the ketchup bottles. The ketchup bottles better be made of plastic and not glass. It's better to just, give him some warm milk and cookies and let him go to sleep. I'll be interested to see what the rage tweets look like at 1 a.m. Oh. Let's just ask. Are Trump's people purposely hiding the news about the No Kings protests and the sizes of them relative to his undersized military parade? Are his handlers keeping him in the dark about that? Page of Wands, messaging, actions, travel. Hanged Man. Yeah, this would be not so much an obscuring, but it's reframing. First off, nobody wants to tell them. That's be thrown under the bus. But they have to reframe things. The messaging of actions, they have to reframe it. Temperance. Remember what I was saying about just give him something, give him some more milk and cookies, let him go to sleep. I think they're going to try and not talk about it. They're going to try and distract him with other things. They don't. Yeah. All right. The question was, were they hiding information about these protests from him? I'm going to say yes at the moment. It's almost like Trump's words created action. He was his own worst enemy. He threw himself under the bus. Had he just been calm and not inflammatory, he would have been fine. But he was the opposite of that. And that caused more people to come out. I do think, though, that they don't want to talk to him about that. They really don't. Fool card. He's only a damn fool. They know from past experiences, you don't give him information he doesn't want to know. That's Dictator 101. Dictators never want to hear information that they don't want to hear. It sends them off the rails. Current situation is the Moon card. Yeah, they have to deceive him. They have to deceive them. The shortest straw is the one gets thrown under the bus. They know better. They have to lie, cheat, and deceive him. And tell him things that aren't true. To keep his emotions in check. Trump wants to be a strong man. Yeah, they have to clamp down on the information because Trump's ego can't handle it. Because he's such a weak person. Outcome is the Hierophant. I don't think this is lost on members of Congress. Members of the military. It may be lost on Trump, but they're not gonna talk to him about that. Are they hiding it? Yeah, they're hiding it. This tells me they're hiding it. They're keeping a clamp down on it. That nobody wants to tell him what really went on. If he finds out, he will be even worse than he currently is. This is just one of those things where it's better not to tell him, because if you tell him, he's going to get depressed and he doesn't know what to do with depression. So he converts it to anger. He converts it to victimization, and it's an attack on him because it's always about him. And rather than self-reflect on how his actions might have contributed to the demise of his ideals, he would rather say that I was victimized by an outside force, and now I need to identify that outside force and crush it underneath my boot. When your only tool is a hammer, all your problems look like nails. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.